I mean, if you were to ask me what I did or what we do as part of PK Live, we put the short answer is we put bands on in fields. But we actually spend as much time, if not more, stopping people putting bands on in fields, because there's a popular misconception that all you've got to do is have a reasonably sized field, book a band, and the rest will take care of itself and you can make a fortune. And you know, people have got this misguided notion, include football clubs, cricket clubs, stately homeowners, farmers, and there's over the years been a catalogue of disaster of people that have tried to do this and have done it wrong. And I'm not suggesting for 1 minute we always get it right, but we certainly get it right most of the time, because we know the key factors that affect the success of putting a major outdoor music event on. You know, things like the type of artist in the specific area that you're trying to put the event on. Certain artists are very regional. You know, the more rockier, the more heavy metal artists work much better up north, and the trendier artists, I remember doing dates years ago with the Talking Heads, for example, and as long as you stayed south of Birmingham they were incredibly successful. But the minute we went up towards Manchester, and particularly places like Newcastle and Scotland, those type of artists didn't do very well at all. And you also need to understand that certain artists don't sell tickets for outdoor shows. You know, some of the more mature artists, particularly ones that have got a senior, middle-aged female following, good example being Barry Manilow, very well dressed, you know, upper middle class, very conscious of their appearance and what they're doing and where they're doing it. Those type of people just don't want to stand in a wet field or even sit in a wet field. That said, you can make that a more pleasant experience by going, say, into a football stadium with a proper floor and putting seats in, which is what we do with Rod Stewart. That then works. But you can't, as a friend of mine once did, just go into Blenheim Palace with Barry Manilow and hope to sell 20,000 tickets. It was an unmitigated disaster, even when Barry Manilow was at the peak of his popularity. So our first job is to look at the type of event that the client's trying to create, why, how, when. Timing is an issue, the type of event is an issue, and once we get all of that right, we're really looking at branding, because the branding is what gives or helps give the event some long-term success. You know, big events like Glastonbury and Reading don't need to announce their artists anymore when they go on sale, because people know what the event means, and that's a key component to putting together a medium-term strategy and a long-term revenue stream for a new client. We do the obvious other things. We do marketing. You know, you wouldn't put a digital marketing campaign, or you wouldn't put a huge digital marketing campaign together for what I call a mature adult artist, because mature adult audiences don't focus on Facebook or Twitter. They focus on newspapers and television and radio. And conversely, if you're doing a new up-and-coming artist, you wouldn't focus on the traditional media. You would focus on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, because A, that's what those kids are looking at, and secondly, it's a much cheaper way to go. So, but there's no point in having a cheaper way to go if the potential audience isn't looking at that source of advertising. So our job, having created the event, is to help you market the event, and then finally it's all the infrastructure. It's the production, it's the sound, it's the lights, it's the health and safety. You know, that stage that collapsed in America recently, that would never have happened in the UK. Health and safety regulations are much more stringent than anywhere else in the world, and we can't move unless we adhere to that legislation. And you know, one of the reasons why most of the people that work in the industry at this level are of a senior age, if you like, is because we've needed to come through the industry over the past 30 years and gain that level of experience to be able to do what we do the way that we do it, and to be accepted by the authorities as an authority in what we do. And in fact, when we sit in rooms with health and safety committees, we're often the eldest people in the room. Even though we were the young kids at one point, running around in the field, not really worrying about health and safety when the kind of regulations that exist now weren't there. So it's a very, very comprehensive service, it's a unique service, and we also need to take care of the venue. When we go into a football club, the key person is the groundsman. You know, a lot of people think the key aspect of a major concert in a football stadium is the artist. You've got to look after the artist, but actually you can't look after the artist until you've got a show. And the way to a big show in a football stadium is to get the attention and to get the sympathy and understanding of the groundsman and convince him that we're not going to damage his football pitch. And the way that we do that is by getting him to talk to other football groundsmen, that football stadiums that we've used in the past, and give him the confidence that he needs. So it's an incredibly complex and comprehensive service that we provide, and we actually think we're the best in the business.